Hi everybody, Market Analytics. Welcome back. Wednesday morning, and we're back with the Euro Pound. Now guys, even though we haven't seen $1 in profit here yet, we're still quite satisfied with the technical situation. Let's just say that. I mean, we were probably somewhat early pulling the trigger here because we had a higher time frame trigger that was a higher time frame key level and point of reference 9068, which was triggered. And also the neckline of that head and shoulders pattern. We also know the big picture is highly supportive of this bearish conviction. But basically what we've seen over the last 7-8 days or so was price just trading sideways in a very, very narrow fashion, right? So it was basically moving sideways right across that 9068. That's how it looks like, at least from the daily perspective. From the weekly perspective, it's a different story, right? Here, we can actually see how all of that noise coming from the daily chart is nicely, being filtered out. And all that's left is just these spikes, which, by the way, could be very much forth-telling, right? I mean, if you take a look at a couple of weeks ago, that was the first time that price was actually able to cross over that 9068 with a weekly close. It was very tight, but I guess it was a success in terms of breaking down, right? Later on, and I'm talking about last week, of course, we've seen much more of a decisive breakdown. And, this week, guys, I mean, you can definitely appreciate what's going on this week, right? That you can see that pullback, which is quite impressive, just to show you how price, gives a lot of respect to that 9068. That's a massive, massive key level resistance at this point. Seems to be a solid resistance, and obviously you can see here it's pushing back against price pretty successfully so far, right? We're still in the middle of the week, and anything can happen, but now as this spike, as this shadow is starting to show up and price begins to come back, right, it begins to be very suspicious, to say the least. So I think we're on the right track, right? Basically, we should be ending up this really tight and local trading range, right? Sideways movement, which was basically, it was very technical in its nature. Just take a look at these lovely spikes on that neckline from below, right? What a lovely retest. There were a few attempts to break back above that neckline. Let me remind you what head and shoulders pattern we were talking about. You probably remember this, right? That head and shoulders pattern that was broken. Price came from below just to confirm that neckline to be a solid resistance. On the way, it actually started to develop a lower scale trading range, which is represented here by this brown setup. And right now, looks like we are building up the last move, the last swing. Take a look. We had 5. Now it looks like we're building up the 6th. And the 6th is usually the last one to break out of a sideways movement such as this one. So we're getting prepared, guys, to load up more trades and reinforce this position. But first, we want to make sure that price can land below 9068, and further on, I would say, land below that blue dotted line. Just to remind you, this blue dotted line is actually a powerful Fibonacci projection 1.236 of the head, right? Measurement of the head from the bottom to the top, 1.236, which is why this is a serious obstacle. We would like to see price overcome that obstacle before we're going to increase our position size. And there you go. It's like I said, very encouraging, even though we are still in negative territory. Stop loss level, guys, haven't been adjusted yet at 92.50, and we'll have to come back, follow up, and keep you posted. It's about that for the Euro Pound. We'll see you in the next video.